Oh man, in absolute awe, and a little conflicted. I don't know how I feel about introducing another pet into our mix, even if it is robotic. No, I absolutely love where tech is going, but I love the fact that we're focusing on our furry friends and that, I think, closest of relationships, which means they must go wherever we go. In fact, a great friend of mine taught me this lesson. Your dog will only know the world that you show them. So let's show them that world, whether it's a family road trip or a quick weekend escape. Our pets are part of the adventure as well. They deserve it. But while we remember the snacks, the toys, the travel bowls, the putt course, there's one thing we often forget: protecting them from unwanted hitchhikers like ticks, like fleas, and other parasites. Well, our good friend veterinarian Pawsport is here to share how to keep your furry companions happy, healthy, and parasite-free, because it works for all of us, and that's wherever the road is going to take you, off-road even.
Absolutely.
Vince, so great to have you here. Thank you so much for being here and for the colour scheme this morning. Absolutely love it, man.
Always prepared.
I know. I like the fact that you just ease and you're actually becoming a fixture in our studio. And well, you should be, because I think we often forget that this is an everyday challenge with our pets. We've got to look after them 24/7.
Yeah.
Why are parasites such a concern when we are travelling?
So I think a lot of the time, especially when we're living in the cities, we sometimes forget about things like ticks. With fleas, I think maybe you see a little bit more in the city, but with ticks, you do tend to forget about them. And it's very easy for life to catch up with you and to completely forget about all of that. And then when you're trying to pack everybody and get the kids ready and make sure you don't forget the bike so that they can have something to do for the kids or what have you. And then it's very easy for you to forget all the extra things you might need for the dog. And I think one of the biggest challenges is obviously as you venture out of the city, your risk for ticks increases exponentially. And I think a lot of people forget about that until they get there and see a tick on their dog.
Oh, completely. And retrospect, we don't want in this space, because ticks can lead to major health problems for humans and for pets. So think of it as one little ecosystem. So how do the locales, the environments differ, and what can we expect?
So if you remember from some of our previous things, we spoke about the different types of tick-borne diseases that we have in South Africa. And the reality is, because we have different types, they also have different tick-borne vectors, and those vectors survive in different areas. So the reality is that there isn't actually areas that are risk-free. They don't exist in South Africa.
Just layers to it, yeah.
There's just areas that are higher risk for one or the other, or for both. So for instance, sort of on your coastal or warm areas, especially up in KZN, your Ilikia is maybe a little bit more prominent there, but then in many of the other areas you have the Babesia that you're a bit more concerned about. And the reality is they all pose a substantial threat and a life-threatening threat to your pet. So the best thing is prevention rather than cure.
Oh, completely. And that's financially and otherwise. And I'll always bring the financial equation in, because it is a massive driver or inhibitor when it comes to our pets. So you want to think about that when you're planning the long-term health of your pets.
Exactly.
What do we need to have in our little travel bag for our pets? How do we adequately protect them?
So it's interesting, because I think a lot of the time you think to yourself, okay, if you're traveling, you must now get your treatment or for ticks and fleas, but you actually have to have it on board.
Should be there all the time.
So it should just be a habit. It should be something that you do regularly, and it should be something that you don't really even have to think about pre-travel necessarily, except just reminding yourself, have you definitely given it? But you need to actually be in a routine where you're doing it regularly. So if you have a monthly product, you want to make sure that you are routinely giving it, on the month, and that you put yourself in a situation that you don't actually have to think twice about.
Yeah, paint yourself into a corner there, and you can almost even say, we are ready to have a trip once the pets have gone through the vaccination gateway and. New routines can throw, especially, I can't imagine people are taking long road trips with their cats, but I've seen it. But when it comes to our dogs, they like what they like routine, they like that safety. If we're going to disturb that, what advice do you have for taking road trips and looking after our pups especially?
So a lot of it comes into trying to maintain the routine as best as possible in terms of feeding times and what you're feeding, trying not to a lot of people go away and they think, oh, my dog now needs all completely
Let's treat them like we're treating ourselves on holiday. Yeah, and it doesn't work.
They end up with gastro, and then you have to deal with that on holiday.
As with your kids, as with your pets.
Yes, so try and stick to that routine as much as possible. And if you find that your dog, for instance, struggles with the travel component of it, chat to your vet. We have a lot of meds that we can use just to make the whole thing at least a lot easier and make sure that your dog actually does enjoy it. Because sometimes I think people don't realize how stressful it can be for them. And it's not for every dog. Not every dog is born for travel.
No,
Some
completely.
just
Even
aren't
just
good.
a car ride. Our one little rescue Dashi, I've realized, gets quite car sick. So you've just got to, but she loves it
Yes.
once you get there. And
Yes.
she's got the park, got the beach, got the mountain to run on. But you've got to take cognizance of that. Some other travel tips, possibly. I would think safety, obviously going into new areas with your dog. Some of them are designed to go out and explore and hunt, so bear that in mind. But what travel tips do you have?
So more like from experience than even from being a vet. With my own dog, I go everywhere with him. He literally travels all over with me. So for me, planning is obviously the most important thing because I need to make sure that I've got all the different things that he needs. And then being very aware of where you're going, trying to kind of do your own little research beforehand, try and make sure they're pet-friendly places that you're going to. Generally, depending on your dog's behavior and personality, try and get an area that's fenced off. And then I always recommend if you arrive at a place to try and do a recce before you just let your dog go.
If you find anything on your legs, maybe that's a
Yes, yeah.
Something's just dawned on me. Kind of cats bring the adventure with them, and often cats won't be housebound. They'll put themselves in different environments, different ecosystems. How do we ensure that our cats are protected in the same way?
So yeah, I mean there are products to make sure that you're treating your cats as well, and I think with cats it's super important. We've done a previous segment where cats are leaving the house and actually going off and picking up things and then coming back, and so they're these like beautiful little transport systems that basically can go fetch things and bring them back into your house. So people might say like, oh, my dog doesn't really leave the yard. Okay, but does your cat?
Yeah,
and
you
then
see
if
this
they do,
secret
you
agent.
need to be treating and managing them both. And there's products for both of them.
I love that. And there's digital reminders to remind you. So just set it on your phone
Exactly.
and get away. Okay.
Exactly.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Cool.
What was the last place you traveled with your dog?
He goes everywhere. We drove up to Centurion the other day with him, so he loves being in the car. If he could be in the car all day, that's where he wants to be.
I won't ask him about his playlist. I think, something upbeat, maybe quite funky.
Sometimes I think my singing gets like annoying for him sometimes, but he has to deal with it.
That's the joy of a dog's love, man. Absolute unrequited love, even with our singing voices. Vince, thank you so much. You're an absolute legend. Hopefully this has inspired you to get out there and explore with your pups, with your pets. Take them out into this beautiful world, but look after them. With spring in full swing, ticks and fleas are active, more active than ever. So keeping your pets protected is an absolute. And NEXGARD makes it a super simple with a tasty chewable that gives dogs 1 full month of protection, or then you can get the convenient 3-month pack, which is even longer cover, obviously. And for cat parents, there's NEXGARD Combo, easily slipped onto the back of the neck for broad protection against fleas, against ticks, and of course, a litany of worms as well. So no matter the destination, make sure protection is part of your pet's packing list and yours with NEXGARD.